as you know, I started Swag Media in '09, right? And from an investment from an NBA ball player, David West. And and so at that time we were, ahead of the curve technology wise, and we were right in the shift of technology taking over just, entertainment distribution as we know it today, from a
Yes, sir.
physical configuration of the CDs, you know what I mean? You know, the evolution of that. And then, the movie business, now, what I mean, almost becoming, a dinosaur in going into a movie theater to watch a movie. You've got Netflix and all these other different streaming companies. So Swag Media was built on that premise.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And so as going through the just being privy to be able to work inside the industry, starting from, she's 40 years ago, you know what I mean? Where I was mentored by Harry Belafonte. We made a feature film called Beat Street. It was the beginning of the hip hop culture, seeing, technology taking over music production. You know what I mean? From just experiencing, seeing, that kids used to have to make music with live instruments, right?
Right.
All of a sudden, here comes a computer, a keyboard, you know what I'm saying? And this keyboard at the time, we were using a machine called the Synclavier.
Yes, sir.
That could play every instrument, you know what I mean? And, and didn't show up with the attitude of a musician, was never late to the sessions, right?
Right.
And so music was now starting to be made, through electronics, so we were making the movie. It was called Beat Street. It's a hip hop classic. And we demoed, we were working with the Soul Sonic Force, African Bambaataa, Jazzy J, and we did a demo and we took it to RCA recording studios, right? And at the time they were using the Casio drum machine.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
We laid the demo down and took it into the studio and played it for the musicians. And the drummer comes in, he says, "Man, that's so hot." He said, "I love it. It's hot. It's great." He says, "Just only one problem." And we said, "What?" He said, "I need 8 arms to play that part."
Right.
Because of the fact that the technology, and you listen to it, you're like, whoa, he's right. You know what I'm saying? So, you know what I mean? So the transition started there. And now here we are in 2020, you know what I mean? Where, you no longer have to manufacture a physical CD, right?
That's correct.
You know what I mean? Everything now is iTunes, it's all streaming. And the revenues, can you believe the revenues for the music business now is $1 million per hour? That's what the streaming revenues are. Okay? Is that you know what I mean?
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Real crazy.
Right? So that's where the music business is now. So now, fast forward to, you know what I mean, where we are in, distribution and resources and being able to manufacture things, we're in a whole pendulum shift. So now we have our youth culture, right? That has been going through the higher level educational systems, and they have been being trained for things that are obsolete when they finish their degree. You know what I mean? A kid goes to a 4-year university,
right,
and then he graduates, and then after he graduates, he can't even get a job in a field that's relevant to the degree that he has. Right. And then to add insult to injury, he's got a big student loan bill.
That's right.
Right?
That's right.
So we're you know what I mean, now in that shift. So if you sit and you think about it, you know, now we have, you know, a social media platform called Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now Facebook was created by Mark Zuckerberg, right?
Yes,
And
sir.
when Facebook was initially created, it was a tool that was being used for college kids to communicate with each other.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it was just a network, and all of the back end, all the infrastructure was built on the university of all their resources that they have at the university, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you know what I mean? So what we did was we said, okay, we went to the University of Southern California and we went to the Black Alumni Association at USC, and they actually came in and they partnered with us. And so now we're doing an event called Fall Ball that, you know what I mean, that allows kids, you know, to come to an event and utilize the university resources and internships that we're creating that allows kids to get on the job training and to work on a platform that a kid can get real-time job experience, right?
That's
And so
awesome.
yeah, and so the whole premise of it is now is that Fall Ball is, you know, our whole initiative is to put 10 kids through USC, through the Fall Ball project. Okay. So USC has 18 different colleges on campus. Okay, they have the Ivy Young Academy, they have the film school, they have the virtual reality school, they have the gaming school. Their gaming school and for games is one of the top in the whole world. Okay, USC Games. So they have all of the resources, the law school, the medical school, and so the university is allowing us to utilize all of their resources for us to build something that the kids can get involved with. And so if you sit and you think about it, that's what Facebook did, right?
Right, right.
They
And
just
so we're gonna ask you this question, Craig, because you're not just in my opinion, in my humble opinion, you're not just a pioneer in the entertainment and music industry, the film industry, but you're an icon as well. So I want to ask you right off the bat: is this new entertainment industry, is it easier or harder for an artist? You know, like on the one hand, a 16-year-old can run a mixer program and make a hit record from his computer. If he's got a sample and he's got a beat and he's got a $20 microphone, he might be able to make a hit record. And he might be able to get distribution through YouTube and Vimeo and all these resources. But then you have seasoned musicians who are out of work, who have songs that they're trying to get their songs in the marketplace too. So does the tech savviness, from your opinion, is tech savvy crucial?
yes, it is very, very
You
crucial.
couldn't survive in the music
Yeah,
industry without it.
it's in today's in today's world, you have to be able to be tech savvy, because if you look at it, the kids are the kids.
I'm going to open up the panel to our guests. I'm going to open up the floor to our guests. And
Okay.
Craig, you are a super popular guy. I guess with your invite, we got 7 people in the room. So I don't know who's who, but I'm going to open the panel up to whoever wants to answer to this thought. Let's get it started. And I'm going to bring the conversation to Dr. Lance to begin. Your thoughts and open up with commentary.
Well, I think Craig really outlined it, that if we're going to really be successful in business, we have to focus on technology. He and I are collaborating on the whole fall ball objective, to be able to get young talent into USC, but also leverage the next wave of entertainment, the next wave of film, music, and technology. We're calling it the acronym Edutainment. How can you educate individuals as well as entertain them?
Yes.
PBS did a study about 5 years ago that shows that the kids' minds are even differently. They learn differently. And so we have to be able to connect with the young generation and the future leaders in order to move the agenda forward. My background as an economist has been, for 20 years looking at how we revitalize urban America and grow minority businesses. 6 years ago, we created a platform out of Ferguson. When the Ferguson initiative happened, we wanted to create an economic solution versus a social solution. So we created Ferguson 1000 to create 1,000 jobs in Ferguson and all across the country. We now have expanded that brand from Ferguson to Baltimore, Los Angeles, Chicago, Miami, Las Vegas, and our goal is to continue to move that agenda forward. So it was an easy spin for Craig and I to collaborate with my technology, economics, and HR background to look at how we could collaborate with the film industry in Los Angeles, the tech industry, Silicon Beach, and the music industry to, again, to discover the up and coming individuals, particularly African Americans. And we know that it's difficult, especially to find scholarships, etc. So our platform will not only be able to create scholarships for up to 10 African American and minority students to go through USC, we'll also create internships for them to get real life experiences and be able to leverage some of them into their own companies and some of them into the major corporations. And we're using a technology platform, which will be announced pretty soon, on how we can integrate that information to the youth as all across the country. I don't know if you saw the movie Internship, but it really shows how you collaborate the old school wisdom with the new school technology, and it's our objective to do that. So we're basically looking at this almost like a record label model, following and connecting with the young minds and young tech. We do a platform called Pitch to Player, where
Right.
we travel around the country and find up and coming technology. So we're going to integrate this, as Craig said, almost like the Black Facebook, in that we can create a technology platform that will integrate edutainment through music, through film, and through technology. And despite the COVID-19, which is allowing us to reset, regroup, redevelop, and I believe we're going to come out of this with flying colors to really create a new platform for our youth and also the old school.
Now, let me ask you, Dr. Lance, are you suggesting that a young man, Johnny, can take this course and when finishing this course can walk into a job at Craig's record label or Sony Pictures with the knowledge now learned just from this new technology, just from the course?
Well, our objective is to get them into USC, but while we're doing that, we're creating soft skills and work skills by putting them into real jobs, working with us, working with the industry in Los Angeles, because again, as Craig said, statistics show if you go to school now and graduate 4 years from now, 90% of what you've learned is obsolete.
Yeah.
So we want to be real-time lecturing, real-time teaching, finding those new minds. I've been very fortunate to find quite a bit of up-and-coming young techies. One right now is transferred to Los Angeles. His name is Jalen Bledsoe. Jalen came to us 5 years ago, and he hit the microphone and said, I'm 17 years old. I'm the same age my parents were when they had me. However, I have 120 subcontractors. I had $3 million in revenue. And if you look at my Facebook page, I'm a paid nerd. So we want to make it hip to be smart, hip to be in tech, and be able to get real life experiences through our platform.
Yes.
And Doc, why don't you touch upon, like the partnerships with the internship, like with Disney, you know what I mean? All the different, companies that when we establish a program like this, we provide them with a pool of young minds and talent that is very attractive to every company. You know what I mean? So Doc is speaking to Disney, speaking to AT&T and Verizon, a lot of other different companies that are showing great interest to programs like this.
Right, because they know that grabbing those new minds is going to help their bottom line. If you've ever gone to a Society of Black Engineers National Conference, every major corporation is there looking for the new talent. So again, we're creating the tech platform, almost like a tech record label, where we're going to be able to scoop, train, give these kids not only the education side, but real life experiences, almost, you know, a modern day label back in the day when Motown would be able to teach them how to walk, teach them how to talk, teach them how to dress. And we're going to come up with some very strong, sharp young men and women for the next wave of leadership.
And then the other thing is, my Ace, is that, you know, our partnership with USC is really amazing. You know what I mean? Especially for young urban kids. USC now has implemented a program. If a family makes less than $80,000 a year, a kid can go to USC tuition free.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Yeah. So that's really, you know what I mean, something that's really amazing right now. So
that is amazing. Amazing is an understatement word. In this scenario, that is definitely an understatement word. I want to hear from any of the other guests that are on the call. Like I said, we got a lot of people who came onto the call. I want to let everybody know we're on the Ace Micheals Show, and the forum is open. We are completely open forum. We're talking about this new technology. I know that I have two sons, one is 15, one is 9, and all I had to do was hand my 9-year-old my computer and my phone, and the next thing you know, he had downloaded a program and he was making beats. My 15-year-old is cutting albums in the bedroom. I had no idea he even knew what any of this stuff was.
It's amazing. It's amazing. I mean, my daughter has a recording studio in her closet.
Right.
So she has, and all she has is a laptop. She's got some headphones and a microphone, and then she bought the pads, and the closet doubles as the sound booth and the recording studio, right? You know what I mean?
And Craig, wouldn't you agree that, I mean, some of the most famous records that we've ever heard, Marvin Gaye, Aretha Franklin, they were just recorded on 8 or 16 tracks. And the kids, they got a 64-channel mixing board, laptop,
right?
Fully digital.
Yeah.
It's a new world.
Yeah, it's totally amazing. That's why, you know what I mean, that we have to retrain our youth culture, because again, they are being taught, you know, educational methods that are obsolete. You know what I'm saying? That these kids will not be able to use in a real life situation.
Well, I liken it to, I'm a child of the 80s. So I liken it to, in the 80s, the Japanese culture was all into computers. And here in America, we laugh. Like those kids, those poor kids, all they're going to know about is computers. Who's going to need to know that? That's nothing. What is that? And now you look at the surge that the Japanese economy took from the 80s to 2000. Yeah, I guess that computer technology came in handy, didn't it?
Right. You know, and the video game technology, all of those things are,
right.
You know what I mean? Realistic business skills now. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I refer to my daughter, you know, when I can't do something with my technology, she's all bad.
Oh.
You know what I mean? But
that's the way it is. I tell people at all holidays now, you can look at the children teaching all the adults how to use a phone and technology.
Right.
But it's great. That's how we embrace them. And we need to embrace them. And again, it bridges that gap. And it's an area where we can connect and actually bring all generations together. And so we're very excited this time.
This is crucial for all children, but especially urban children.
Yes.
We don't want to call them children. Urban young professionals need to know this, because these are the skills that are going to matter in 5 to 10 years.
Right.
You're going to need And I don't, obviously when I was a kid, my parents used to say you either go to the military or you learn athletics. If you get a scholarship, you're lucky, that will get you into college, and hopefully you'll get a good job. Or you join the military, in which case you're lucky and you'll have that military pay. But those were really the two options. You either were an athlete or an entertainer, or you're in the military. So 3 options for a kid. Nowadays, if you learn that technology, who's to know what you're going to be building in the future? I mean, Dr. Lance, you mentioned the days of COVID. Who's to say that our 19-year-old today, or even our 15-year-old today, won't be working on antivirus technology?
Very much so. Very much so. Again, the youngsters are exposed to so much more than we ever have been exposed to. I have a mentee in Chicago by the name of Ian Brock. Ian is 15 years old. He's been homeschooled his entire life. He's writing a book called Dream Hustle Code, where he teaches young kids from
I
5
love
years
that title.
old
I'm sorry.
on code. It's code.
I love that title.
He teaches kids from 5 up to 18 about coding. But let me tell you how the game is flipped. It used to be 6 degrees of separation. Now it's 1 degree of connection to anybody in the world.
True.
As we know, Robert Smith now is the most richest African American in the country, about $6 billion over in California in tech. Well, Ian is interviewing all the top ballers in the country. So I told Ian that I wanted him to introduce me to Robert Smith and via phone. Well, his parents called me back and said, "Oh, we have a better thing." I said, "What?" He wants Ian to come to Washington, D.C. for the premiere of Boss, which was on PBS, being the historical perspective of African-American businesses. Well, we go up to the museum. So this little 15-year-old is my bridge to the richest African-American in the country, because they're connecting at a whole different level. So from the mouth of babes, oh brother, we connect with them. He spoke at Google. He's been in Forbes magazine. It's so much talent out here. And so again, I want to add the 4th piece. You mentioned military. You mentioned entertainment. But it's all a platform that we call, and my youngsters, we call ourselves nerds with swag, making smart and cool, making tech cool. And so we're recruiting them. We're trying to get them to USC, but eventually our platform is going to go to all the universities across the country to find that talent and be able to hone it in and be able to create jobs, economic development, and Black wealth.
No, yes, sir, Mr. Holden.
Just wanted to chime in for a minute. There's a sister down in Houston. She's the president of the Houston Community College. She came from Cleveland. She got in touch with me a few months ago because she knows that I'm doing esports. I created an esports arena in Cleveland that's now connected to the junior high schools and the grade schools. And the kids can come to the arena, but we're also putting many esports in their schools. The whole idea being to teach them how to code. If they learn how to code, they have a future. There's one thing to be able to be good at playing a game. If you learn how to code, you can write the game.
Yes,
you can
sir.
write your own future.
Yes.
And these kids, as young as 9 years old, are starting to create different games. But the most interesting part of that is the games that they are creating. These are all inner city kids. Just like with hip hop, they're not creating games about war and the rest of the stuff. They're creating games about their life experiences in the hood, which means that now everything changes first in the mind. And when you see how kids get into these games, if they are creating an entire world based on their life experiences, they're leading into a different future, that people actually believe that Black folks have a future. It's an amazing thing.
Correct. Yeah, absolutely.
And her name is Monique Humphreys down in Houston Community College. She'd probably be somebody you want to talk to.
Yeah, so Warren, so just, you kind of hit on the nail on the head, because of the fact, and Doc and I have been talking about, because of the fact that, we are now, we'll call it quarantine, and everyone is staying home, and it's probably going to be something similar of the norm that, you know what I mean? I mean, I personally try to stay away from toxic people all the time anyway.
That's right? Another show. That's another show.
Right? But because of that, and that we're not, we don't know when we're going to be able to socially gather, right? When are we going to be able to have NBA, NFL, and to go to a concert again? So, what we've done is now we're taking the fall ball brand and we're creating a video game out of it. Okay.
Oh, nice.
So,
Nice.
yeah. So the event itself, and that's why we're doing the whole event, fall ball, and I'll kind of walk you guys through what fall ball is, the day, the experience, and why we partnered with the university, because we had to have something that was relevant to our youth culture, So USC was just a natural partnership, right? Because, when it first came, the guys, they wanted to do a basketball game. An investor came in and put some money into the strategy. And then, I said, well, this is much bigger than the basketball game. So I did it at USC because of the fact that the facility is wired in such that I don't have to run cables to the cameras. All the wires is a plug and play scenario, right? So it just plugs into a camera, and so on a movie production or a live broadcast production, you have to run cables, wires from where the camera is on each camera to the production booth, right? And so that's a great, production expense, And so if you need to run wireless cameras, that could be kind of questionable because you can lose your internet signal. So all of those things came into play why we utilized the USC campus. And then we started looking at, USC, the film school, the alumni, and all of those things. And it just only made sense to bring that, the university as a partner. So the university, when I walked in there, they totally embraced it. They said, oh my God, you must have been hiding underneath the table, when we were talking about what our initiatives are at the university, And so it's just that, Because the university and the school system, they're in the business of educating our youth culture, right? And so to do that, you have to pay a tuition fee, and it becomes a business, right? That's what the university system is just that, a business. So they do the cookie cutter scenario. There's no creativeness in what the end result is of the product and the kids. So my whole thing was that because I'm a tech company, I need bodies. I need technology, and I need, resources to be able to create that.
Now, let me ask you a question, Craig, before we run out of time, because they've just given me my time. My show, we never have enough time. But my question is, speaking on the educational front, is this something that can extend, in your opinion, to the adult education sector? Like when you talk about universities, there's a lot of people who go to universities at 50 and are trying to get into this.
Well, you hit the nail right on the head. So society in itself is having to retool itself. Mm-hmm. You follow me?
Yes, absolutely.
You know what I mean? Because again, we're in a situation now where millions of people have just lost their job, right?
Yes.
So what's that mean? There
22 million to date. 22 million to date.
And it's probably much more, right? Yeah. Okay, so that only goes to show you that jobs are now becoming obsolete, right? And so you have to go out, and when you lose your job, then you're either going to become homeless or you're going to have to retrain yourself.
That is correct. Yes.
Right? So the university system and these that's the resources that you have to have. You know what I'm saying? So why you don't want to retrain yourself in something that you can't go back out and get a degree in, right? So I mean, ultimately, that's the whole mission statement of what we're doing, right?
Well, let me ask you, gentlemen, this is a question for anyone who wants to answer, but and we're going to run out of time. We got 5 minutes left on the show. But here's the question. had it not been for pandemic, would we have ended up here? So can we kind of be blessed that we did end
Yeah,
up
I
with
agree.
pandemic?
Yes, totally. Yeah, I mean,
I totally agree as well. I think that God stopped the world and we can catch up. And there's enormous opportunities I've never seen before, and people looking for opportunities. We're all getting information at the same time. So I believe it's been a blessing. We unfortunately, we've had some people like casualties and die, but there's enormous opportunities to retool, redevelop, show the world how we can be able to use technology to recreate ourselves and help get information out there.
And just briefly, because of the virus, the environment has had a chance to retool itself, and there are people seeing blue skies in places in the world that they haven't seen it in generations.
Right, right.
And it happened quick too. I mean, it
Yeah,
happened
real quick.
literally.
And we were told it wasn't possible.
Yes,
Very
sir.
interesting that it should be at the beginning of a new decade, within the first 3 months of a brand new decade. Who's to say what the universe is trying to tell us? Gentlemen, we're out of time. How do we follow you guys on social media? If we want to be fans, we want to be stalkers, what do we need to do next?
Well, you could just hit me, you know what I mean? Craig Nobles, I'm easy to find on social media. C Nobles01 on Instagram and Craig Nobles on Facebook. And then you can hit me on LinkedIn also.
And the same here under Dr. Lance, Lance.doctor on Instagram as well as on Facebook. We are connected, and Craig and I are working hand in hand to move this agenda forward. Again, we're all over. You can catch us anywhere.
And you can catch me at rockforkindness.com. It's a webathon that I did last year for 12 hours. We're doing another one in June for about 6 hours. A lot of different subjects.
Thank you, gentlemen. I am not surprised at what you're doing, but I am refreshed that you three are doing it. I've known Craig for many years, and I know if he's behind it, if he's doing it, it's going to be successful. Listen, thanks for being my guest. I'm sorry we're out of time. That is the way it works with this. You only got so much time, and we could talk for hours about this. It's such an encouraging and awesome. I mean, the word awesome is the only word that can describe it, because you're giving people the keys to their own future. There could be 500,000 millionaires that come out of this. It could be, who knows what you're opening right now. This is awesome. It's the Ace Micheals Show, man. My guests, three fabulous gentlemen today, Mr. Craig Nobles, Mr. Warren Holden, and Dr. Lance. And listen, you know what I say at the end of every show: live the life you love, love the life you live. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, sir.